you. This is actually my 10th SEMA, which is really exciting to be speaking at it. It's kind of like a little girl's dream, I think, that I might have had at one point. So this is exciting. So personal branding has honestly changed my career. And it's not something that I necessarily did intentionally. I think we were just kind of getting into COVID. I was like 7 months pregnant. I started thinking everyone's gonna forget me because I'm gonna disappear and everything's shutting down and I'm gonna have a kid and I'm gonna get really busy and I'm very active in my industry. I'm on a lot of boards, things like that. I'm gonna have to step down. Started having that panic moment. So I started doing some work, not really realizing it, but like on LinkedIn and things and doing some video and just trying to put myself out there because I was terrified to be forgotten. And it turned into more than I realized it would. And I was asked maybe a year and a half ago to talk to the Women in Auto Care Association about personal branding. And when they asked me that, I was like, you're talking to me, right? Like, I know nothing about personal branding. And it was just a strength that they saw, and they've really helped foster it in me. And now this is maybe my 8th talk on it, and it's really helped a lot of people. And I'm really hoping you get a lot out of this too. And the reason I call it self-branding is because everybody has a personal brand. Whether you've ever thought about it or not, we all walk around with a brand. And I like the word self-branding because it puts it back in your hands. You can brand yourself however you want to brand yourself. You don't have to walk around with the personal brand that you have today, unless you want to. So the definition we're gonna use, self-branding is the process of differentiating oneself by packaging one's values and experience in a way that can be easily communicated and marketed. And just to break that down, again, self-branding is bringing it into your hands. You decide what your brand is. And it's a process. You're not gonna walk out of here today or ever and be like, okay, I'm done. This is my personal brand for the rest of my life, because your personal brand is going to grow with you. You're gonna learn new things, you're gonna get interested in new things, and if you're constantly thinking about your personal brand, it can grow with you and you never have to start over. And it's about your differentiation. And it all comes down to your values and your unique experiences that you've had in your life, in your career, and how to package that in a way that you can talk about it, that you can actually communicate it. You put it into a narrative that can actually resonate with somebody. That's what we're gonna try to get into today. Any marketers in the room? A couple, so this would look familiar to you. So there's push and pull marketing. And when it comes to your self-brand, pushing is when you get out there, you create content, you put it out on social media, or you speak at an event, you talk about that learning experience, somebody sees you doing something scary, you're putting it out there, you volunteer, you see an opportunity, someone's looking for, they have an empty board seat, and you raise your hand and say, hey, I'd love to be considered. That's all push. That's you pushing this. That's you bringing opportunities to yourself. And the idea is that if you build your brand correctly and you communicate it right, people will start coming to you, and that's the pull. So if you want to be a marketing communications leader and you put it out there that way and people start to know you as that, when they have an empty seat on their board for a marketing person, make them think, well, let's see if Jacki's interested first, and then we'll put it out to everybody. But let's see. And they'll come to you. They'll come to you when they have speaking engagements like Pamela did for me, and I felt like a star because one time I put a picture of me behind a podium at the Women in Auto Care conference speaking and showed myself in that light that I want to be in, and I got a pull out of it, and it was awesome. And that's really the whole point, right?
Yes.
Thank you. And then again, it's a process. So as you get these opportunities, you push that back out. You say, I did this thing, and I learned that, and these people helped me. And you just make sure that people are always keeping you top of mind because you're staying on top of their minds. And you have to think about what that pull is. That's the key. What are you trying to pull? What is the whole point? That's the most important thing for you to answer. And I just want to quickly run through my little journey here. So this is one of the first LinkedIn posts I have ever done. And I'm literally covering my face, and what you don't see is the 100 selfies I tried to take before landing on this, because I felt like an idiot. First of all, I'm not a selfie taker. Well, I wasn't. I am now. I became one. I'm new. But I was taking these selfies, and I'm like, this is so stupid. No one wants to see a selfie on LinkedIn. Mind you, this was like 4 years ago. It really wasn't a thing. So I ended up covering my face. I've come a long way. But after I really got on LinkedIn in the first place, I was trying to promote this organization, which is the Young Auto Care Networking Group. I just got on their board. It was the first board I've ever been on. I was really excited about it, and I'm like, you know what? No one in our industry is using LinkedIn. I see a hole. I want to try it. It was terrifying. But I just started doing a little bit more, started doing videos, started having some fun with it. Got really brave, started bringing my company into it and just showing what it's like to work at my company, how cool our team is, how proud we are of our heritage. Got real brave, started going into the industry education kind of stuff, and I realized that a lot of people don't really understand all of the opportunities that are in the industry. So I thought, okay, well, I'm a person just like them, I'll actually talk about it. And then I started talking about becoming a mom through COVID and being a working parent and how freaking hard it can be and how rewarding it can be, and it's whiplash every single day. And I started bringing this into some professional ideas, some thought leadership, stuff that would normally probably go in my journal, but I put it out there on LinkedIn. And I started getting personal messages from people saying how much it meant to them to see the stuff that I was putting out, that it's hard, and it's hard for them too, and they appreciated it. So I just kept doing it more and more, and then I did this last post. I'm sorry, this is my garden that died. I think my post was about, if anyone on here is making you think we do it all, we don't. We all have 24 hours, and my garden got none of my hours, was basically what I was saying. But I did this post after last SEMA, and I was really exhausted, and I was in the airport. But I was so encouraged because I had a couple people actually come up to me that I'd never met and hug me and say, I follow you on LinkedIn, and I just really appreciate everything that you're putting out there. Wow. And it was the most encouraging time of my life, and shortly after Pamela called me too, and I just felt like I was on top of the world. But this is just what personal branding can look like. It doesn't have to be what you do. But this is what the last year and a half of my life has turned into. And it's because I started getting out of my comfort zone and just talking about the cool things and the cool opportunities that were coming my way. And it wasn't necessarily just like a me story. I was trying to bring people into my journey. So every time I got on a stage, I didn't say, look at me, look at me. I said, this was the hardest thing I've ever done. I was shaking, but I did it. I'm here. And like I just started kind of developing a lot of friends in a huge network at a time where everyone else's networks were slowing down. And it's really the power of personal branding. And again, you have to think about your pull. Maybe you don't want to be on stage. That doesn't mean that you have to become a public speaker. But today we're just going to walk quickly through these 3 vitals of your personal brand. So self-branding requires self-belief. Self-belief leads to self-promotion, and self-promotion builds your brand. Most people cringe when I say self-promotion, but we'll get to that one. So these are the 3 vitals: self-branding, self-belief, self-promotion. So we'll start with self-branding. So really, you do something really well. You have a unique way of doing it, and you bring a different perspective to it. So if you can think about those 3 things, that is your brand. You just nailed it. So what is it? What is that thing that you do really well, that you love doing, that you want your brand to be about? Combine your experiences, passions, and achievements together to create a compelling narrative that actually resonates. And the good part of this is if you don't feel like you are a good storyteller, that's the learned skill. Storytelling you can learn, and it comes with practice, and it comes with, writing it down and trying to really get your brain around who you want to be and what you want your brand to stand for. But the resonating part really requires authenticity. And I find that the more authentic I am, the more I can bring people in. When I do a video with no makeup, the one I did at SEMA, I was so tired, I had bags under my eyes, my voice was scratchy, and I almost got teared up during that video, but I left it out there and I put it out there, and it was one of my best ones because people can actually see a human behind the post. So self-branding requires self-belief. Confidence really comes from experience. A year and a half ago, I was terrified to be up here, and now I freaking love it. I've come a really long way in a year and a half, but it comes with experience. So if you see yourself in a certain light and you're just not there yet, that's okay. You just have to keep trying and just know that that confidence is going to come, but you're never going to get it if you don't take a step. Trust in your abilities and share your talents with humility. It's not a me thing. A lot of people help us get to where we are. But you have everything that you have to take your next step. You might not have everything you have to succeed today. You have everything you need to take that next step. You need to know what it is. And step out of your comfort zone. Take calculated risks. Do scary things. Pushing your boundaries and embracing new opportunities is what's going to give you that growth and that success that you're looking for. Don't fake it. If you don't believe in what you are doing, do something else. Pivot. Because if you don't believe in it, no one else is gonna. If you don't have the energy behind what you're trying to sell, no one's gonna be behind you. And don't build it on sinking sand. Because the other thing that'll happen, and this has happened to me, is when you do get a hater or two, or more in my case, you sink. Because I didn't really believe in what I was selling, I was just trying to put it out there. But if you really believe in it, you can stand on your own 2 feet and say, no, I love what I'm doing a good job. I can learn things, yeah. But you can handle haters when you're not on sinking sand. Self-promotion, and I know most people cringe, especially women, and there's a reason for that. You know, in the research that I've done, we just need to do better as women. We need to lean into this. Women are less inclined to self-promote than men, even for a job. The study found female workers have a deep discomfort over touting skills, experience, and it adds to the gender gap in promotions and pay. Self-promotion is necessary for vertical career advancement. Women are often reluctant to engage in self-promotion. Those who do are typically penalized for their efforts anyway. The ability to self-promote. It's well documented that women are less inclined to talk about their achievements than men, largely due to a culture that mandates female modesty for a number of reasons. And this is the one that gets me. Statistics show that over 69% of women prefer to downplay their accomplishments instead of promoting them. So not only are we not talking about them, we're saying, oh, it wasn't a big deal. But to that person, it wasn't a big deal. And we just did ourselves a huge disservice. We just have to lean in and do better. Celebrate your accomplishments and recognize the impact that they've made. Self-promotion is not arrogance. Self-promotion is acknowledgement of your hard work and dedication, and that's okay. This is just an example I threw up here. It was an honor to lead this effort, and I can't thank the team enough for their hard work. That's not bragging.
No.
That statement, without me having to say it, is saying, I led this, it was successful, I'm giving credit where credit is due, which makes me a good leader. I didn't have to say that, but it's a way to brag better. Share your passion, express your enthusiasm and genuine interest in your field. You'll naturally attract others to your brand and make them want to buy in. You have to build an online presence. So I put this little thing together here. If you're focusing on face-to-face networking, you will be very, very, very busy. Make the impact that an online presence can have for you. We're in a different world. And I highly suggest LinkedIn for your professional career. It keeps things, professional, and you can decide how personal you want to get, but your online presence is going to make or break how far your brand actually reaches. It's really important to be consistent, to engage back with your audience, show the human behind the post, and then just maintain that professional image on social. And then network with intention. Build meaningful connections, attend industry events, participate in relevant communities. You don't have to do all of the pushing alone. If you start building your network, they can speak for you. Tell your network what you're trying to do, what you're trying to be, what you want to learn, and they can help do that pushing for you too. They can connect the dots. So seek support from mentors, colleagues, and friends for encouragement, feedback, and guidance. Regularly showcase your work, share your expertise, and engage with your audience. I already said this. No, I didn't, sorry. So persistence and consistency equals credibility and visibility. So the thing that I see a lot of people do is they get really excited. I usually have a larger talk than this, but it's more of a workshop, and they get excited, and then I tell them I'm gonna be your biggest fan on LinkedIn, and they go out there and they post, and then they didn't get the engagement they thought they would get. They got like 2 likes or something like that, so they don't show up again the next day. So they never get there. It's the persistence and consistency that's actually gonna help your audience trust you, and you'll build that credibility. So self-branding requires self-belief. Self-belief leads to self-promotion. Self-promotion builds your brand. So this is what I'm going to leave you with. I kind of started doing some scribbling. So figure out the pull first. What are you trying to pull? What opportunities are you actually looking for? What content will get you there? What do you have to push? Who do you have to push it to? Think about your push, get to work on it, and then don't forget that it's a process. You're never done. Keep pushing, get those pulls, keep pushing, get those pulls. Follow me on LinkedIn. I always try to share this kind of information. But thank you guys so much. I hope it was helpful.